Have you ever felt like your mind never stays silent for even a moment? No matter how much you think, no matter how much you analyze and try to figure everything out, that exhaustion inside you never really goes away. At night, your body falls asleep, but your mind is still at war. What if something goes wrong? What if everything falls apart? What if I lose control? And without even realizing it, you slowly become trapped inside your own mind. But what if I told you this? The thing that's exhausting you may not be life itself. It's the thoughts you're trying to carry without God. And maybe even though you love God, pray, and believe, you still feel like your mind is starting to defeat you. In this video, we're going to discover how to break free from those invisible burdens exhausting your mind. How to replace anxiety with peace. And why, when you truly trust God with all your heart and soul, fear and anxiety begin losing their power over you. Because sometimes what a person truly needs isn't to think more. It's to surrender to God. Because when you overthink, you become exhausted. But when you trust, you finally rest. Stay with me until the end. Because what you're about to hear isn't just another message. It's guidance for your mind, comfort for your soul, and an answer from God to the thoughts that have been stealing your peace. Before we continue, if these words are touching your heart, I want you to do something small but powerful. Subscribe to this channel to keep receiving messages that strengthen your faith. And write this sentence in the comments. God, put my thoughts in order and fill my mind with your peace. Write it with faith. Because sometimes one sentence can become the beginning of a new freedom. Now let's talk about what's really happening. What happens when your mind becomes filled with fear, doubt, memories, and imaginary scenarios that leave you feeling weak? But more importantly, let's talk about the God who can teach you how to breathe again, truly rest again, and find peace even when your mind feels like a storm. Sometimes the thing weighing you down isn't life. It's your mind. A silent storm nobody sees, but one you carry every single day. You wake up motivated, but within minutes, thoughts begin stealing your peace. Your mind immediately starts asking questions. What if something goes wrong? What if I can't handle this? What if God isn't listening to me? And a calm morning suddenly turns into an internal battle. Thinking isn't the problem. The problem begins when we start thinking too much. When we replay things we can't control over and over again. When we allow doubt to take up more space than faith. And the painful truth is this. Most of your battles aren't happening around you. They're happening within you. Maybe you feel this too. You try to smile while carrying silent sadness inside. You try to believe, but your mind constantly shows you how everything could go wrong. You want to move forward, but negative thoughts keep stopping you. The mind is powerful. It can become a refuge or a prison. It can lift you up or tear you down. And without realizing it, you become a prisoner of your own thoughts. The enemy knows this. He doesn't always attack you with visible problems. Most of the time, he attacks your most vulnerable place. Your mind. Fears that sound logical. Lies that seem real. And doubts planted deep inside your heart. But there's a truth people often forget. God didn't create your mind for fear. He created it for peace. You were created to focus on His voice, not your fears. Today your mind may feel tired, confused, overwhelmed. But that doesn't mean God has abandoned you. Because thoughts change. But God never changes. Some thoughts arrive without invitation. But you decide whether they stay. Anxiety may knock on your door, but you decide whether you let it in. Fear may come near you, but you decide whether it controls you. And the only way to overcome it is by placing your mind into God's hands again and again. God says, "Don't be afraid," because He knows the greatest battles often begin inside the mind. Peace doesn't come from having a perfect day. Peace comes from a mind focused on God. God hasn't given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and self-control. That strength is the ability to govern your thoughts. God didn't create you to become a slave to your thoughts. He gave you strength so you could overcome them. If your mind has been restless lately, it doesn't mean you're weak. It means you need to rest in God. Because the more a person tries to solve everything alone, the more exhausted they become. The more they try to control everything, the more peace disappears. And as fear grows, faith slowly retreats. But God never created human beings to drown in fear. He wants to fill your heart with peace. Because true peace doesn't come from solving everything. It comes from surrendering everything to God. Maybe today your mind feels chaotic. Maybe you can't sleep peacefully at night. Maybe you're carrying a heaviness you can't even explain. But remember this: God understands your mind better than you do. Even when you're exhausted, He hasn't left you. Even when you're afraid, He's still walking beside you. And sometimes the miracle isn't that every problem disappears. Sometimes the miracle is finding peace while the storm is still happening. Because when you overthink, you become exhausted. But when you trust God, you finally rest. And this is where true freedom begins. The moment you stop trying to control everything and start learning how to trust God. Because you may not see every answer today, but God may already be preparing a way where you can't yet see one. Maybe right now there's a silent battle inside you. Maybe your fears are deeper than anyone realizes. Maybe your mind hasn't felt peace for a very long time. But remember this today: God hasn't forgotten you. And you're not fighting this battle alone. A person can become lost inside their own thoughts, but God can lead them back into peace. Anxiety may exhaust you, but faith can lift you back up. Fear may suffocate you, but God can teach you how to breathe again. Because where God is, there is hope. There is peace. And there is a peace no darkness can take away. So stop allowing fear to control your life. Because you don't need to understand everything. Sometimes God simply asks you to do one thing. Trust me. And when a person truly trusts God, their mind slowly becomes quiet. Their heart becomes lighter. Their soul begins to rest. And the fears that once controlled them no longer have power over them. Because true peace isn't having everything under control. True peace is knowing that God is in control. May God's love, peace, and blessings always be with you. And remember, no matter how difficult life becomes, you are never alone. God is always with you. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like, and stay connected for more messages that inspire faith, bring healing, and fill your soul with peace.